Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we bring you the latest and most important stories from around the world of sports, news, and beyond. So, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay updated with stories that matter. Today, we're diving into a heartbreaking story that has shaken the basketball community to its core, the tragic and unexpected death of Janis Timma, a basketball icon loved by fans around the world. Stick with us as we explore his incredible journey, the mystery surrounding his passing, and the legacy he leaves behind. Let's get started. There are moments in life that seem etched with promise. Moments where talent, perseverance, and passion converge, shaping a story that feels larger than life. For Janis Timma, basketball was more than a career. It was the canvas where he painted his dreams, a stage where he connected with millions, and a bridge between his quiet beginnings in Latvia and the heights of international stardom. From his breakout performances in Europe to the thrill of an NBA jersey with his name, Timma's journey inspired countless fans who saw in him not just a player, but a man determined to rise above every challenge. He wasn't just another athlete, he was a symbol of resilience, hope, and an unwavering dedication to his craft. But on a cold December day in Moscow, the headlines told a different story. Janis Timma, just 32 years old, was gone. The basketball courts that once echoed with his name now stood silent. Fans, teammates, and family were left with one haunting question: why? As the world struggles to make sense of this loss, today we reflect on the life that Janis Timma built, the impact he left behind, and the unanswered questions that linger in the wake of his passing. Stay with us as we explore a story that demands to be remembered, not for the way it ended, but for the legacy it leaves behind. On the court, Janis Timma was a force to be reckoned with, a player who carried the pride of Latvia every time he stepped onto the hardwood. But off the court, he was more than just a basketball star. He was a son, a friend, and an inspiration to those who believed in the power of perseverance. At just 32 years old, Janis Timma was found lifeless in a Moscow apartment, leaving behind a legacy that now feels incomplete. Fans who once cheered for his every shot are now mourning a loss that feels far too sudden, far too unfair. His passing has left the basketball world shaken, with tributes pouring in from every corner of the globe. Teammates recall a man who never gave less than his all, both in practice and in life. Fans remember the way his smile lit up an arena, the way his determination on the court inspired millions. And now, as the world tries to make sense of his untimely death, the question remains: how does someone so full of life become a memory so quickly? In this video, we'll take a closer look at the life and career of Janis Timma, a story of talent, triumph, and the profound impact he left behind. We'll revisit his rise from a young boy in Latvia to a celebrated figure in global basketball, and we'll hear from those whose lives he touched along the way. Stay with us as we uncover the moments that defined his life, explore the circumstances surrounding his tragic death, and reflect on the legacy of a man who left the world far too soon. In the quiet streets of Riga, Latvia, a young boy picked up a basketball for the first time, not knowing it would one day carry him to heights most can only dream of. Janis Timma wasn't born into a life of privilege, but what he lacked in resources, he made up for in passion. From an early age, Janis was drawn to the game, not because it promised fame or fortune, but because it gave him a sense of purpose. His family wasn't wealthy, but they were supportive. His parents, hardworking and grounded, taught him the value of perseverance. While others saw basketball as just a pastime, Janis saw it as a gateway to something greater, a chance to show the world what he was capable of. As a teenager, Janis quickly stood out in Latvia's youth leagues. Coaches noticed his natural athleticism, his determination to improve, and a quiet confidence that made him a leader among his peers. He wasn't just playing the game, he was studying it, learning from every loss, and celebrating every victory like it was a step closer to his dream. Those early days were tough. The facilities were far from what you'd expect for a future professional, and the competition was fierce. But Janis thrived on the challenge. His drive set him apart, and it wasn't long before he earned a spot on Latvia's national youth team. Representing his country for the first time was a moment Janis never forgot. It was here that he began to understand the weight of his talent, not just as an individual but as a symbol of hope for his country. Latvia, a nation with a deep love for basketball, had found a new star, and Janis was ready to take on the world. He practiced harder, played smarter, and dreamed bigger. Each dribble, each shot, each moment on the court was a step toward something greater. And while those around him saw glimpses of greatness, Janis was already planning his next move, determined to show that no dream was too big, no goal too far. By 2013, Janis Timma's name was already being whispered among basketball insiders as one to watch. That year, his dream took a giant leap forward when he was selected in the second round of the NBA draft by the Memphis Grizzlies. It was a moment of validation for the years of hard work, a signal that his talent had reached the global stage. Although Timma didn't immediately secure a spot in the NBA roster, the draft opened new doors, ones that would lead to Europe's most competitive leagues. In the VTB United League, playing for teams like Zenit St. Petersburg, Timma quickly became a standout. His ability to adapt to the high-paced, physically demanding European style of basketball earned him respect from coaches and fans alike. In the EuroLeague, a stage reserved for Europe's elite, Timma thrived. He wasn't just a player, he was a force. His scoring versatility, whether from long-range threes, mid-range pull-ups, or aggressive drives to the hoop, made him a nightmare for defenders. But it wasn't just his offensive game that stood out. His defensive tenacity and leadership on the court elevated him as a complete player. Teammates praised his ability to unite a team, while coaches marveled at his understanding of the game. Janis wasn't just following orders, he was reading plays, adjusting in real time, and setting an example for younger players looking to break into professional basketball. In 2021, Timma made his way back to the United States, where he joined the Orlando Magic Summer League team, reigniting the hopes of fans who had followed his NBA journey. While his stint with the Magic was brief, it showcased his growth as a player. Janis had evolved from a promising prospect to a seasoned professional, capable of holding his own on any court. For fans, seeing Timma in an NBA jersey, if only for a short time, was a reminder of the limitless potential he carried. For Janis, it was proof that no matter the obstacles, he could always find a way forward. Behind the fierce competitor fans saw on the court was a man with an equally strong heart. Off the court, Janis Timma was known not just for his athleticism, but for his humility, kindness, and unwavering generosity. For his family, Janis was a source of pride, not because of the trophies or the accolades, but because of the man he had become. He often spoke about the values instilled in him by his parents: hard work, compassion, and the importance of staying grounded. No matter how far his career took him, he never forgot where he came from. Teammates often described Timma as the glue that held a team together. He wasn't the loudest in the locker room, but his actions spoke volumes. Whether it was helping younger players adjust to the pressures of professional basketball or offering words of encouragement after a tough loss, Janis was always there. Fans, too, felt his impact. Timma made time for everyone, from signing autographs to posing for photos, to simply sharing a few kind words with those who supported him. His connection with fans wasn't superficial, it was genuine. He understood the role they played in his journey and wanted to give back whenever he could. But one of the most defining aspects of Janis Timma's legacy was his commitment to mental health awareness. As an athlete, he knew the weight of expectations, the pressures of performance, and the struggles that often go unseen. Janis wasn't afraid to open up about these challenges, using his platform to encourage others to seek help, to talk openly, and to prioritize their well-being. Through interviews and public appearances, Janis reminded the world that strength isn't just about physical ability, it's about resilience, vulnerability, and the courage to face life's challenges head-on. His advocacy resonated far beyond the basketball community, touching the lives of countless individuals who saw in him not just a player, but a role model for navigating life's struggles. In a world where fame often creates distance, Janis Timma built bridges. He was a player who understood the value of connection, the power of empathy, and the responsibility of using his voice for good. His kindness and generosity were as much a part of his legacy as his skill on the court. December 16, 2024. The streets of Moscow awoke to what seemed like an ordinary winter morning, cold, quiet, unremarkable. But inside a residential building, something far from ordinary was discovered. Janis Timma, the Latvian basketball star who had captured hearts around the globe, was found lifeless in an apartment. He was just 32 years old. The news broke slowly, first as a local report, then as a wave that rippled across the world. Details were scarce, but the shock was immediate. Investigators arrived at the scene, their work shrouded in silence. No immediate cause of death was reported, and speculation filled the void. Had it been a medical emergency? Was there more to the story? Janis had been in Moscow, preparing for the next phase of his career, a step that many believed would add yet another chapter to his already remarkable journey. Yet, in a matter of hours, that journey came to an end. The building where he was found, a quiet corner of a bustling city, became the center of attention. Journalists gathered, fans lit candles nearby, and questions lingered in the cold air. While authorities began piecing together his final hours, the basketball community was left grappling with an unthinkable loss. As of now, no official cause of death has been released, leaving room for both grief and uncertainty. What we do know is that Janis's passing has left an irreplaceable void in the world of basketball, and for those who loved him, life will never be the same. His teammates and coaches described him as healthy, focused, and excited about the future. The suddenness of his death feels almost incomprehensible, a reminder of how fragile even the brightest lives can be. In Moscow, tributes began appearing almost immediately. Flowers, jerseys, and handwritten notes crowded the gates of the residential building where he spent his last moments. Strangers gathered to honor him, united by a shared sense of loss. A star had been extinguished, and the world was darker for it. The moment the news spread, the outpouring of grief was immediate and overwhelming. Social media became a digital memorial, as fans, friends, and fellow athletes shared their heartbreak. "We lost more than a player," wrote one of his former teammates. "We lost a brother." From Latvia to Russia, from the EuroLeague to the NBA, the tributes poured in. The Latvian Basketball Federation released a statement calling Janis a beacon of hope for a nation, a player who carried our pride wherever he went. In Riga, vigils began forming outside basketball courts where Janis had once played as a young boy. Fans held signs that read, "Forever in our hearts, Janis," while others quietly placed flowers and lit candles. The grief wasn't just for a player, it was for a man who had given so much to the sport and the people who loved him. For his teammates, the loss was personal. A former coach, holding back tears, shared, "He was one of the most selfless players I've ever coached. He cared about everyone around him, always lifting the team, always giving more than he took." Fans also shared memories of their encounters with Janis. Stories of his kindness off the court, his willingness to take photos or chat with aspiring young players, filled the digital space. "He treated everyone like they mattered," one fan wrote. "And now we've lost someone who mattered so much to us." Even players who had faced him as opponents expressed their shock. An NBA star tweeted, "Janis Timma had game, but more importantly, he had heart." This is a loss for the entire basketball community. It wasn't just the world of sports mourning this loss. For many, Janis represented something larger, a symbol of perseverance, of never giving up on a dream. His death felt like the loss of a story that had more pages to write, a future that will now remain untold. As the tributes continue to grow, one thing is clear, Janis Timma's impact reached far beyond the court. His passing reminds us of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing those we admire while we can. The news of Janis Timma's death sent shockwaves through the basketball world, transcending borders and leagues. Tributes poured in from every corner of the globe as players, fans, and organizations united in mourning the loss of a star gone too soon. From the NBA to the EuroLeague, Timma's influence was undeniable. Fellow Latvian basketball star Kristaps Porzingis, known for his towering presence on the court, took to social media to call Janis a legend who will never be forgotten. Porzingis' tribute was shared thousands of times, a reflection of the deep respect Timma commanded among his peers. In Russia, where Timma had spent a significant part of his career, teams paused their games to honor his memory. Players donned black armbands, and a moment of silence echoed across arenas as fans stood in solidarity. The Latvian Basketball Federation, a community that had watched Janis grow from a promising young athlete to a global figure, organized a special tribute in his hometown of Riga. Coaches, teammates, and even local kids who idolized him gathered to share stories and celebrate his life. "He wasn't just our player," one federation official said. "He was our pride." Social media became a digital memorial for Timma. The hashtag Forever Timma trended worldwide, with countless posts from players and fans alike. NBA veteran Nikola Vucevic tweeted, "Janis wasn't just a great player, he was an incredible person. His kindness and dedication will be missed by everyone who knew him." The tributes weren't just about what Janis had done on the court, they were about who he was off it. A man who gave everything to his team, his fans, and his family. A man whose legacy will be remembered for years to come. For those who knew Janis Timma personally, the loss goes far beyond basketball. To his teammates, he was more than just a player, he was a friend, a brother, and a source of strength in tough times. Former teammate Michael Frazier, struggling to find the words, shared, "Janis was the kind of guy who made everyone feel important. He didn't just care about winning, he cared about us as people." Coaches, too, remember the relentless work ethic that defined Timma's career. One coach reflected, "He never gave less than 100%. Even on his toughest days, he was there, pushing himself and pushing the team to be better. He was the heart of every squad he played on." But the void left by Timma's passing isn't just professional, it's deeply personal. Friends recall his infectious laughter, his thoughtful advice, and the way he could turn even the hardest moments into something bearable. He was the glue that held so many together, and now, they're left wondering how to fill the space he's left behind. While players and coaches shared their personal grief, fans across the globe united in mourning. For many, Janis Timma wasn't just a player, they saw in him a reflection of their own dreams, their own struggles. In Latvia, makeshift memorials appeared outside basketball courts where Timma first honed his skills. Children left handwritten notes thanking him for inspiring them to pick up a basketball. Adults shared memories of watching him play, cheering for every shot, and celebrating his triumphs as if they were their own. Social media became a canvas for fans to express their heartbreak. "You inspired me to dream big," one post read. Another said simply, "Thank you for everything, Janis." Fan-made montages flooded YouTube and Instagram, showcasing Timma's career highlights set to emotional music. Comments poured in from viewers around the world, many of whom had never met Janis but felt connected to him through his passion and humility. In his hometown of Riga, young players took to the courts wearing jerseys with his name, a silent tribute to the man who showed them that greatness was possible. They played with an intensity that seemed almost sacred, as if every dribble and every shot was a way of saying thank you. Janis Timma's legacy isn't just in the records he set or the games he won. It's in the lives he touched, the players he mentored, the fans he inspired, and the countless people who saw in him the best of what sports can represent. Moments like these force us to pause, to search for answers in the face of tragedy. Janis Timma's death left behind more than grief, it left behind questions, echoes of a story that doesn't yet feel complete. The Moscow apartment where Timma was found has become the focal point of an investigation that has raised more uncertainties than clarity. His final hours, shrouded in mystery, have prompted speculation from fans and media alike. Authorities remain tight-lipped, offering no immediate details about the circumstances surrounding his passing. What was Janis going through in those final moments? Was there a sign, a call for help, that went unnoticed? For a man who seemed to have it all, talent, drive, and a legacy in the making, what could have led to such an abrupt end? For those who knew him best, these questions weigh heavily. His family, teammates, and friends recount a man who was dedicated, passionate, and excited for the future. Coaches recall his focus during practice sessions, teammates remember his laughter, his encouragement. There were no signs, no warnings that this chapter of his life would close so suddenly. Yet, as the basketball world grapples with this loss, it's impossible not to reflect on the broader challenges athletes face. The pressure to perform, the weight of expectations, and the mental toll that often goes unseen. Could more have been done to support Janis? Was there a moment, somewhere along the way, when intervention might have made a difference? While investigators work to piece together the puzzle, those who loved and admired Janis are left with an unsettling silence. Speculative headlines have begun to emerge, but the truth, if it ever fully surfaces, will take time. In the meantime, the void left by his passing serves as a stark reminder of how much remains hidden beneath the surface. And yet, for all the lingering questions, one certainty remains: Janis Timma's legacy isn't defined by the tragedy of his death but by the brilliance of his life. His journey, his achievements, and the lives he touched stand as a testament to what he gave to the world, a legacy that continues to inspire, even in his absence. The truth may take time to emerge, but the world will remember Janis Timma, not for the questions left unanswered, but for the light he brought to the court, the people he lifted, and the mark he left on basketball and beyond. Janis Timma was more than just an athlete. He was a son, a teammate, a friend, and, for countless fans around the globe, an icon of resilience. His journey wasn't defined solely by his talent, though his skills on the court were extraordinary. It was his unyielding determination, his humility, and his ability to inspire others that made him unforgettable. From his early days playing on neighborhood courts in Riga to the global stage of the EuroLeague and beyond, Timma's life was a testament to what can be achieved through hard work, focus, and heart. He didn't just play basketball, he lived it, embodying the discipline and joy of the game every time he stepped onto the court. Off the court, Timma stood for something bigger. His open advocacy for mental health awareness showed the world that even the strongest among us need support. He reminded us that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's humanity. And in doing so, he became more than a player, he became a role model for aspiring athletes and a voice for those struggling silently. His legacy is written not only in the points he scored or the games he won, but in the countless lives he touched along the way. For the kids in Latvia dreaming of wearing their country's colors, for the fans who saw him as a symbol of hope, and for the teammates who called him a brother, Janis Timma will always be remembered as a light that shone far beyond the court. Janis Timma's story isn't just one of talent, it's a reminder of the support we owe to those we admire. Behind every highlight reel and every victory is a human being with struggles, dreams, and emotions. As we celebrate Janis's life and legacy, we're left with a challenge. How can we, as a community, do better? How can we ensure that the next generation of athletes has the resources, both physical and emotional, to thrive? Youth basketball programs inspired by Timma's journey are already planting seeds of hope in Latvia and beyond. These initiatives carry forward his passion for the game and his belief in the power of community. But there's more we can do. Let Janis Timma's legacy inspire us to take action, to advocate for mental health, to support young players chasing their dreams, and to remember that behind every success story is a person who needs our care and understanding. It's up to all of us to ensure that his impact lives on. As we say goodbye to a player who gave so much to the world, we want to hear from you. What do you think can be done to honor Janis Timma's legacy? How can we better support the athletes who inspire us every day? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this story meaningful, please like and subscribe to our channel for more stories that matter. Together, let's keep Janis's legacy alive, not just in memory, but in action.